Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for joining us to another Post-Maafa Reconstruction. We do have our special guest here, Miss Ronzee Henry. She's a realtor, and she will definitely be giving us her expertise here at 6:30 p.m. Now, we do have our co-host, Miss Lizzie Woody, who will be joining us shortly. I'd like to thank everyone for joining us again. We are here every Wednesday at on YouTube, MelaNation App, on Facebook at MelaNation App, and our Cash App is $MelaNation App. Now you can join us every Wednesday, 6 p.m. Arizona Mountain Standard Time, and I'd like to remind everyone that Arizona doesn't participate in daylight savings. So when you change your time, our time remains stationary. So we might not be on the same time frame as you in the winter or in the spring. That being said, the reason why we're here today is because MelaNation, the company, is creating a social media app for the family. We're uniting the family under one common goal, which is the upliftment of melanated people. So we're here to present the app as well as present the information from our special guest speakers. Welcome back, Miss Lizzie Woody. I just introduced myself.
Oh, you did?
Yes, I did. Go ahead and introduce yourself, Miss Lizzie.
Good evening, everyone. This is Lizzie Woody. I am trying to get my thoughts together right now. As I always say, I've been here for a long time, and I am one of the people that reaches out to the community to share information to make sure that, we are aware of what we're doing and we can support each other. And that's basically, my journey.
Yes. Miss Lizzie Woody is the public relations manager for MelaNation. She's quintessentially MelaNation as far as our policies and concepts of what we're aiming to do, the goals that we have. Miss Lizzie Woody has been extremely instrumental, and she's naturally equipped to handle the type of things. She's introducing me today to another special guest, as she has done in the past. And she's just continued being a great help, opening doors and letting us know where the community is outside of the community that I'm already familiar with. So, I just want to really be appreciative to Miss Lizzie Woody and give her the flowers that she deserves now, right?
Yeah, we need people like you to, create platforms and be willing to communicate and network with people that you meet out in the community, because it's hot and people aren't really outside right now. So,
Yes,
so
indeed.
it's good to be able to meet and network with people like you both that are willing to spotlight entrepreneurs and artists and small businesses that are in our community, because that's the way that we're going to thrive once we start supporting each other and get rid of the divide.
Right. Unity is everything.
Yeah.
So let me go ahead and share our business card here. So MelaNation, our webpage is melanation.co. I'm definitely going to be presenting the webpage so everyone can understand what is on our page, what we're about. But before we do that, let me go ahead and introduce the community through our 2-minute video. So it gives you a little background, a little taste of what is going on with the app.
The emergence of an inspired event is now on the move, requiring all hands on deck. So here is why you should share. We have substantially invested in a systematic approach to Black economics. Our mission is to empower and uplift our community. both online and in the physical world where birds fly. Interestingly, your monthly vote steers the direction of the company. Introducing MelaNation, a cutting-edge TV and an internet platform. It's making its way to the world stage with over 400 pages of state-of-the-art features. Features include movie streaming, a production studio for influencers where your production will be displayed through the television, a dating site that can be accessed through the TV, a Google Maps-powered satellite mapping system for registered Black-owned businesses and entertainment, making it easier for you to locate the community near you, and much more. We're bringing everything the community needs under one roof in order to build the proper infrastructure across the nation. Learn more on the Facebook page, family. The time is now for your participation to shape the direction of this community-powered company. The financial investment has already been made, meaning we are not asking you for donations.
All right, all right. Ms. Ronzee, so as far as the video that we just played, is there any questions that you may have?
I don't have any. The only question that I would have is I would want to so is it downloadable from the App Store?
It's currently in production. So we do have downloads, but it's not open to the public.
Okay.
Members of MelaNation who are part of the community, we do have the app on our phone, but this is like the beta phase where we're just testing the features and changing things around. It will not be available to the public until September 15th of 2027. Yes. So there are over 400 pages that we're currently working on, and we plan on releasing all 400 pages on that date. So this is a major, this is more of a super app where we're combining the concepts of many different apps, and we're adding new concepts to the app, which makes it a little bit larger project than like a traditional Facebook app or YouTube app or something like that. You know, and there's a lot of different Black apps that are developing and coming out into fruition that generally focuses on social media or focuses on commerce, buying and selling, like the marketplace. But we decided to go ahead and expand our obligations and our graphs to a larger features. So we have a lot more features than most apps would be presenting.
It's a pretty cool concept. It's almost kind of like the platform that we all know. I'm not going to mention their name, but it's almost kind of like that platform where you can go to the marketplace, you can go to the dating site, you can.
Yes.
But you guys are doing more because you're creating a platform for artists and producers to be able to stream their work on the screen.
This is true. So yes, it'll be downloadable to Apple, Android, and to the television.
That's very impressive.
From as far as my knowledge is, we're the first app that you'll be able to date using your remote control on the television. Right? Swipe right.
So now nobody's really going to leave the house.
Right.
Now you really don't have to go nowhere. You just sit on your TV.
Yes, indeed. That being said, let me go ahead and go over to our web page.
Well, I have to apologize. I'm still trying to figure out how to get to what I need, and I'm glad that you guys are carrying on. I do apologize.
No problem. No problem whatsoever. You know how we do, Miss Lizzie.
Absolutely. And thank you, Miss Ronzee. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
So this is our webpage. It is melanation.co.
Okay.
Every MelaNation starts with you. Mela Community is a powerful all-in-one platform designed to connect, empower, and elevate the global melanated community. From networking to business growth to content, event, and opportunities, everything lives in one ecosystem. Join millions building real connections and empowerment. Mela Community is not just another social media app. It's a digital nation where culture, commerce, and collaboration come together. Whether you're a creator, entrepreneur, professional, or community leader, this app is your home. And this section is one that I really want people to really digest, because a Post-Maafa instrument, the Post-Maafa Reconstruction phase begins with narrative sovereignty. What that means is we're in a situation where we can begin to start telling our own story from an Afrocentric standpoint, Afro-centered standpoint, instead of having the other people tell our story for us, because they do not put us in the best light. And after centuries of displacement, extractions, distortions, our first responsibility is to reclaim the power to redefine our own reality. Reconstruction cannot occur while our stories are being told by outsiders, filtered through hostile systems, or reduced to spectacle. A people disconnected from their own narrative cannot coordinate their future. So MelaNews, when you very first click on the app, you will see MelaNews. MelaNews is going to give you what's going on in our communities, going to explain to you what's going on in our company. You're able to reach out to MelaNews if there is something going on in your particular area. You can let us know, be aware of it, and then we can air that on MelaNews. So it's important that we're taking our own narratives, sovereignty, instead of allowing other people to speak on our behalves. So this is one of the fundamental features of MelaNation. Stop me anytime you want. If you have any questions, go ahead and stop me. I'm just going.
Mm-hmm.
So MelaNation is not run by one individual person. It's run by delegates. Users of the app can become delegates. MelaNation is a digital representation of the conscious community, placed the fate of the community back in the hands of the community itself. To achieve this, MelaNation is governed by a community of delegates chosen directly by the people. Leadership cannot be appointed from above, nor concentrated in isolation. Delegates are selected through collective decision-making, funding, and staffed by the community, and empowered only to the extent that they produce a measurable positive impact. So we're at a point where we're holding our leadership accountable. We're at a point where we're holding our leadership accountable. The way that works, we do have what's called a leaderboard. When I go over to the prototype, you'll be able to see the leaderboard and how it works. But the way it works is the top 800 users on the leaderboard has the ability to become assessors, which is basically the people who give our delegates their grade. So in order to rise to the top of the leaderboard, you have to gain points. Points are gained through interacting on the app. So there are certain actionable features that will give you points. Also, let's say you have a post that's very popular over a certain amount of time. Depending on how many people likes your post, you're going to accumulate points based on that. So just being an active user on the app itself, that tells our company that you're invested. And if you're invested where you're investing your time, to the point that you're one of the top 800 users of the app, then you should have the ability to give direction to the company. So you'll actually be in charge. If you accept it, you'll be in charge of rating our delegates. Now, the delegates stay in office as long as they continue at over 85% approval rate. But let's say the users drop that approval rate below that 85%, then when their term is up over 12 months, they'd have to, reapply and go through the process again. However, if they stay above the 85% approval rate, then their term just renews on its own. So delegates are very important. We do have 3 metrics that we're weighing against the delegates, which are One, creating new streams of income. Two, actually, let me put our faces on here. Wow, let's see. Creating new streams of income. Two, creating job opportunities. I'd like to inform everyone those are not mutually exclusive, because let's say they take the funding that MelaNation is giving to them, because we do plan on giving them a stimulus on a monthly basis, and they'll be able to forecast the stimulus for 3 months in advance. But let's say they decide, okay, well, we want to invest in the stock market. Well, by investing in the stock market, they're not providing any jobs. So we're separating the concept of new streams of income with job opportunities for the community. So that's a secondary metric. And then the final metric is offering social services to the community. So all three of these metrics must be met and satisfied for the assessors to give them like 100% satisfaction rating. And again, the assessors are very important as well. And assessors are normal users, just like anyone, our neighbors, you and me, who basically are active enough on the app to be one of the top 800 users of the app. Now we do have movies, so you're able to download the app to the television. Now, we utilize entertainment as a strategy gateway to reach the community at large. Culture draws us in, but consciousness keeps us together. Through shared stories, music, and creativity, we gather the people, transforming attention into alignment and participation into purpose. Galvanizing the community is not just a slogan, it's a mechanism for empowerment. So the movies are going to be, it's not going to be curated movies or anything on that level. It's going to be the basic movies that you'll find on any other movie streaming apps. When we want to be competitive and have the most up-to-date movies in a large variety. But again, we do have over 400 pages of the app itself. But you did have some very good questions in the beginning before we went live. Did you have anything that you would like to ask at this point?
So yeah, it's just with the MelaNation, the name, what inspired the name, and how did all of this come to fruition? Like, what birthed this? Obviously, somebody had to think about it in order for it to be born into this reality. But what was the motivation and the inspiration behind creating the company and then an app?
Right.
And the name, of course. What inspired the creation of this name?
Right. So those two questions are the answers to those two questions are going to be pretty similar, right? So MelaNation is a concept that when you look over history, we want to identify our community as best as possible. And not all so-called Black people are the same, right? However, we went through the same type of oppression, right? Mm-hmm. The terminology Black, it's a social construct created by our oppressors. It was created during the time they had a need to distinguish who's going to be oppressed versus who's going to be like slave masters. So prior to the transatlantic slave trade, different nations will be called by their nationality. Like we'll be Moors, or we'll be Ethiopians, or we be, right? And then like Germans would be Germans, and Irish would be Irish. So we called ourselves through our nation because there's different cultures. There's different, when you're in a different nation, you have different languages. Everything is not going to be the same, right? So prior to the transatlantic slave trade, there was no such thing as Black. There was no such thing as white. But they decided to create this social structure for one particular reason, which was to put everybody in a bucket. So now Ethiopians and Nigerians are all the same, okay? And what makes them the same is the fact that they're 3/5 of a human, right? This is what they claimed when they came up with these phrases. Now, when speaking to the elders, the NG, Negro, NG, that's actually an African tone. So that's something that is actually something that we are supposed to uplift, the NG. But because of history, that word is now tainted, right? The word is now tainted. But the Europeans, when they say nigger, Negro, that is Latin in their language, and it means black. So it just means black. So it's not the language that we're concerned about. The problem is what the word black means, right? So we decided we don't want to be called Negroes, right? Or niggers. We don't want to be called those, but that just means black. We really just moved the goalposts. We haven't made any accomplishments by calling ourselves black, if that's the same thing in their language, right? And again, black is just a social construct designed to oppress us. And in the 60s, James Brown, we had a huge movement, I'm black and I'm proud. So now we're using that phrase as a term of endearment, and it's hard for us to even separate the concept because it's so installed in us as a people. Like, I'm not offended by being called black, but I'm having a higher consciousness and a higher level of understanding that they still calling us niggas, right? They still call, there's no such thing as black. We're not black in color, and there's nothing like that in nature. Now, the one drop rule is not, well, we want anyone's one drop black. There's no such thing as black. So it's not one drop black. So what is it one drop of?
Even the black cat isn't black. He looks black, but when he's in the sun, he's brown.
Exactly. So what is it one drop that they're talking about? What is the actual, now that we're more educated in our understanding, when they say the one drop rule, what is the one drop of? The answer to that is melanin. If you have one drop of melanin, which is the chemical makeup that gives us our darker tone, then they considered us to be property. So that's the one thing that unifies us as a people, regardless of our nationality, ideology, religion. If you are melanated, having that chemical in your skin, then that is that's what we made us a target and allowed us to become part of the Maafa, systematic racism, redlining, all these atrocities that happened to us was simply based on melanin. So that's why the company is called MelaNation, because it encompasses all. It doesn't leave out anyone who is from a different country or from a different nationality, So it is an all-encompassing phrase.
Melanin, right.
Melanin, exactly. The chemical substance that gives us our pigmentation. And the reason why the company was invented is because of the Maafa. We're still being affected. The name of the show is called the Post-Maafa. Post means after the Maafa. We're making a declaration. Okay, we're not saying that systematic racism is done and over with. What we're saying is we're at a tipping point where we can now take control of ourselves. We can now unite. We have the numbers, we have the motivation, we have the understanding. We're in an age where there's so much technology at our disposal that we can no longer allow racism to affect us on a larger scale. So we're beyond that. We're more powerful than the systematic situations that are put in front of us.
Yeah.
And let me just say that the reason I am a part of MelaNation is because the design is the people are making all the moves as far as what MelaNation is about. This is about the people, what they see, what they want, what they need, and how we can provide those, whatever it is. And it's intentional and it's deliberate.
Yes, indeed. It's very important. There's a couple things that's important that we learn from our history. One, we need a structure that's systematic, right? Two, we have to remain malleable. We have to keep our ears open for the opportunities, situations, any area of improvement that we can go in. We need to stay malleable. So that means that we're not going to be stagnant. We're not just going to create the app, launch it, and that's it. The community is a necessary piece of the company. We have to have feedback to know which direction we need to go in and which direction we need to continue to invest in, right? Because in real life, where birds fly, things change and we need to be able to change with it.
Precisely.
I'm going to take the next couple of minutes to show the actual prototype. Let's see here. So we do have, a lot of our members do have access to the prototype and the beta app. So we are working on this, continuously working on this. But on this front screen, if you can see the screen, what you'll see is our family, the people of the app. So the very top screen, you'll see the news, Mela News. You see Mela TV, where you can watch movies through your television or through your phone. And next to that, you'll see high listed profiles. These are people, regular users that have done something in Black excellence. And below that, you do see the delegates. So it's important for us to know who our delegates are, what they stand for, do you back what they believe. And every month, we'll be voting in on the situation with the delegates. When I move the screen to the side here, you do see that we have many, many major features. We have the social media aspect. We have the aspect where you can create your own videos. We have the Mela Market. We have transparency, where you can see the funding of the company and what we're investing in. We have events page. Don't really have too much more time, so I'm just going to pick. Let's go to the leaderboard. And this is what I was describing earlier. So the top 800 people here on this leaderboard will have the options to become assessors. And the assessors will be the people in charge of giving an evaluation to the delegates. The assessors are everyday users who are our main users of the app. With a caveat. The caveat is this. There are two separate leaderboards. You have the collective board, and then you have the prime board. In order to qualify to be an assessor, you have to be a melanated user, okay? So we're not allowing anyone to assess our leadership besides melanated people. So you do have to verify that you are a melanated user, and on top of that, you're one of the top 800 users of the app, and at which point you'll be able to give direction to the company at large. Ashe.
It is done.
Yes, indeed. Let me switch gears, go to the email so I can pull up the bio. Does anyone have any questions while I'm looking this up?
I would. So the StreamYard that we're on right now, we're streaming. And this video is going to be uploaded to the YouTube channel for MelaNation, right?
Correct.
Or
We are streaming to the YouTube channel MelaNation App,
okay,
and we're also streaming to a personal YouTube channel, Tahuti Forever. So
okay.
those channels there.
So that this is it can actually be shared.
Yes. Yes,
Very
indeed. So we are live. It can be shared, and the people who are watching, if you have any questions, please go ahead and text us over the questions, and we'll get those questions answered. So I have the bio here. Let's go ahead and introduce our guest speaker. Originally from London, England, Ronzee Henry, known online as Where's Ronzee in Lundy Grill, Arizona, has spent the last 2 decades building life, career, and community in Arizona. Her journey is one of resilience, reinvention, and service. With the natural ability to connect with people from all walks of life, Ronzee has built the reputation as the trusted real estate professional, local influencer, and passionate advocate to help others create opportunities through ownership in real estate investing. As a licensed Arizona realtor, a member of the National Association of Realty since 2011, Ronzee has helped buyers, sellers, and investors navigate one of the most important financial decisions in their lives. While she's worked together with a variety of clients, she has a special passion for guiding first-time homebuyers through the process, breaking down the complex concepts into simple, actionable steps. Her mission extends beyond helping clients buy and sell homes. She is committed to educating everyday people, building wealth, creating leverage, and using real estate as a tool, long-term financial freedom. Beyond real estate, Ronzee is a creator of the Grow Where's Ronzee brand, which combines her love of community, travel, local business, food, culture, and storytelling. Whether she's highlighting hidden gems across Arizona, supporting small businesses, attending local events, interviewing entrepreneurs, or sharing real estate opportunities, resources, experiences they may not have discovered otherwise. Her content reflects her beliefs that success is built through relationship, curiosity, and willingness to keep learning. Knowing her position, energy, authenticity, and entrepreneurial spirit, Ronzee is currently focused on expanding her real estate business, building strategic partnership, and learning how to leverage investments to create greater impacts and financial independence. She believes that wealth is not just about money. It's about creating opportunity, building a community, and leaving a legacy that helps others thrive. Whether she's helping the family freedom with their dream home, exploring Arizona's newest hotspots, or inspiring others to think differently about the future, Ronzee brings the same enthusiasm and commitment to every endeavor. Her message is simple: stay curious, keep growing, invest in yourself, and never underestimate the power of mindful connections. Welcome, welcome, Miss Henry.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. First of all, I would like to say thank you for welcoming me on. I had no idea that I was going to be on. I originally, when I met Miss Lizzie, I wanted to interview her. And so what ended up happening was we were having a conversation. We were texting back and forth. She called me in the middle of the day yesterday, and I said, you know what? I'm going to stop what I'm doing so I can give Miss Lizzie my attention. And we got to talking, and I remember hearing myself say, so you want to interview me? And she said, yes. And I was like, oh, okay. So she was like, can you get a bio to me? And this was like, boom, boom, boom. And I'm like, yeah, I can do that. I can definitely make sure that I get this done because obviously I'm interesting enough to be interviewed on this platform. And so I'm grateful to be here and to be able to present who I am, what I do, and what's important to me and what's valuable. So I do want to say that. And then secondly, I want to say that first, I am a spiritual being having a human experience. Real
Ashe.
estate is what I do. Well, what I am is a spiritual being having a human experience. And
Okay.
what is really important to me is knowing how I show up for myself in order to be able to be an example to show up for the community and paying attention to how I treat people. So these are the two things that I pay attention to when I meet people is how do they show up for themselves? How are they representing themselves? And how are they treating other people? Because there are two types of people in this world. There are the consumers who are the takers, and then there are the producers, which are the givers. And we have to know what side of the fence we're on because at some point we have to set boundaries because people will take and take and take with and basically drain your energy without any intention of refilling your cup. And we also have to recognize when we are in the community, who are those people, places, and things that are filling our cup without us even expecting or asking for it. It's just naturally because we attract who we are. We attract what we are. And so therefore when I met Miss Lizzie, I was just kind of like, okay, this is amazing. Like I'm thinking that I'm going to be interviewing her and it flipped and it was like, no, I'm interviewing you, honey. It's like, okay. So thank you for that.
Okay. Yes.
It's really important for me as a realtor because this is what I do. Because I understand what it means to build wealth in real estate, I really want to share the knowledge that I have with people who want to do it, maybe don't know where to begin, don't know where to start, don't know who to trust or have confidence in because it's a huge investment. So
Right.
you have to have some confidence and rapport with the person who you're going to be working with. We are professionals and I like to know that I'm working with other professionals who have the same moral compass as I do, who have integrity, who have the same focus, which is to help the community, not transactional. The
Yes.
transaction is going to happen, but I'm not a transactional person. I would rather build a connection with you, get you to learn who I am as a person, and allow you to build confidence in me. And if you choose me to be your agent, at least now you know the foundations that what I'm grounded on. I'm not just here to just make money and then disappear.
Ashe, Ashe. And
It's
that's one of the questions that I wanted to bring up because I read in your bio, it sounds like you have a philosophy in reference to money itself. A lot of people, believe that money is the root of all evil. There's a lot of negative connotations when it comes to money, especially with our people being that we were sold for money. And so, we have some strong emotions when it comes to money. What is your philosophy in reference to the thing that we're calling money, which is, we can term it as wealth or, a means? What's your philosophy about it?
so money is energy. It's an energy, it's a tool. It's what we use to basically in this world the way that it is keep things moving. It's something that we use to create opportunities, to have what some people would say comfort, and then to build wealth. And I think that when it comes to our community, because we have embedded in our subconscious, it's like we've gone through so much as a people, mentally, spiritually, emotionally. We have been, I mean, just me alone on my own journey. I've got my own story, and I know that the story that I have is not something that most people would want to experience. But when I think about it as generations, going backwards, just as a person, as a melanated person, we have been through the ringer. And so fear comes from when we're not sure about something. We don't know the facts. We're not educated on certain things. And so therefore we're fearful of making a choice or going in a certain direction. And so money is not something that we should be afraid of. It's like fire. It's what you use it for. Um, Fire is neither good or bad. It just is what it is. It's an
Ashe.
energy. And
Ashe.
so when you're using fire to heat up the water so you can bathe or so you can cook with, or to heat your home, that's a good thing. But when people are using fire to hurt somebody, burn down the forest, or boil the water to throw on somebody, that's negative. So it really just kind of depends on how you look at money, how you were trained to, or I don't want to use the word trained, but how you learn about how money works and how it can work for you is really the key. And in our communities, we didn't get that information. We didn't get that memo. We didn't get the memo that financial literacy basically means money management. A lot of us parents before us, and our parents and descendants, we didn't get the educational lessons of, okay, you gotta save money. Well, let me just put it like this. When it comes to real estate and building wealth in real estate, you have to know where your money's coming from. So you got to know where your income is coming from. That's number one. You want to invest in real estate, you want to buy a house, you want to become an investor and purchase properties and be able to have tenants and provide places to live for people who are not ready to buy. You got to know where your income, you got to know where your money's coming in. You have to know how to save your money. You have to know how to budget your money. You have to know when to invest and where to invest money. And you have to know how to protect it.
Ashe. Ashe.
Those are the 5 pillars when it comes to money management and financial literacy. Once you understand that those are the 5 things that are the foundations of money management and wealth, then you start to learn how to put those things in order to make your money work for you. Instead of us working for it, we make our money work for us.
Yes,
And
indeed.
that's the key. That is my goal. And one of the reasons why I like to be a part of the community, because I want people to understand that it can be done with proper structure, proper guidance, and the right team. It can be accomplished. It's just that we don't have enough people who are coming into the community and saying, hey, I'm here to provide you with a lesson. I'm here to give you the education. I'm here to provide you with the information that you need in order to make a decision if this is what you want to do. Some
Right.
people do that. Some people are like, oh, they don't want the responsibility of a house. They don't want to have to be fixing it, blah, 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 blah. And that's the difference between the consumers and the producers.
Right.
Because the producer is going to create a lane for the consumers to have a place to keep over their head.
So yeah, I definitely understand and I definitely agree as far as how you've described the mindset of people, because that's everything starts in the mind. So some people are going to consume, some people are going to produce, and I definitely agree with that. Now, I have a few questions here for you, based on meeting you and reading your bio and seeing your aura. But before I get into some of these questions, let's start in the beginning, right? It sounds like you are providing a service for the community. I'm not sure exactly why the community is important to you, but if you can tell us your origins, how did you get started providing this service?
Okay, so I used to be in the field of I used to run a department at a company that provided housing for people with disabilities, and I was the department manager for the on-call department. So my responsibility was to hire people, put them on, give them schedules for relief. They were the relief staff. As somebody who was living, who actually worked in the property, in the home, needed a vacation or they were sick, the manager of that home would call me and say, "Hey, Ronzee, we need somebody to cover this weekend, or we need somebody who's going to be out, off for 2 weeks. We need a staff to cover." So one day, one of my staff walked in my office and he says, "Miss Henry, have you ever thought about getting into real estate?" And I said, "Well, I saw a movie about it once, but that was as far as it went." And he was like, "Well, what do you think about it?" At that time, I noticed and realized that I wasn't going to grow anymore in the company where I was at. So I just looked into it. I followed back up with this gentleman, and I said, "Well, this is what it's going to take. I got to go to real estate school. It's going to take 90 hours of licenseship." And here I gave him all the details. On the next day, he walks into my office with a check, a blank one, and he says, "Take this and sign up for the school." And I was I was surprised by this because I wasn't expecting anybody to do that for me. And I was very grateful and very humbled, and I'm very grateful now telling the story about Mr. Jones, because he saw something in me that I didn't see in myself at the time. And he told me, he said, "I see something in you that I see in me." When he was younger, he says, and he said he didn't do anything with it, but he would like to sponsor me to go to real estate school, and he did. So I got my license in 2011, and I was doing some property management, some real estate sales at the time where I got my experience, and then ended up moving out here. I grew up in Tucson, Arizona. I'm from London. I moved to Tucson, Arizona. And the reason how I even made it to Tucson is that my mother had friends that were stationed at Lakenheath, which is just outside of London, and ended up retiring in Tucson at Davis Mountain. So we came to visit them on a holiday one year, and my mom met someone. We go back home, they keep in touch, and one day he says, "Come back, I want to marry you." So that the rest is history. And so I moved out to the Valley in 2016. I moved my family out to the Valley, and then at that point ended up doing property management. I was stuck into doing property management because the broker that I started working with at the time had just changed their policies to where they weren't doing sales anymore and they were just doing property management. So fast forward to 2020, I quit that and decided that I was going to get back to sales and continue to build my business. And pretty much I found that me bringing value to people who have never owned a home, first-time home buyers seems to be my niche. I like to work with first-time home buyers because first-time home buyers are open to listening and accepting the guidance of the expert who does this for a living. A first-time home buyer will never say to me, "Oh no, this is no." Like, a first-time home buyer is willing to take my lead and allow me to lead them through the process of home ownership. The way that I like to lead and guide my clients is teaching them. I like to be proactive and give them information ahead of time. So once we get to that point, they're familiar with, "Oh, Ronzee already, we talked about this, and here we are now." Kind of like that book, What to Expect When Expecting. I like to present what to expect when buying. Step by step, I provide my clients with a buyer's guide so that they can review that. I encourage them to read it. I encourage them to look through it, and I encourage them to ask me questions. Because when a client is asking me questions, that means they're truly fully invested and they're really paying attention to everything that this process is. Because buying a home is one of the biggest investments you'll ever make in life.
This
So
is true.
it's really important. Like, it's okay to be like, oh, well, I trust you. I have confidence in you. I just, but I really want my clients to be invested in exactly what it is that they're doing. Yes, I'm going to make sure that when there's something that they need to be alerted about, I'm going to say, hey, you need to be alerted about this. But I really want my clients and my customers to understand that it's a huge process and they need to be asking questions.
Right.
There are 4 things that sell real estate. And these are the 4 things that I always tell people. There's going to be price, the location, the condition, and the terms of the contract. Those are the 4 things that sell real estate. If all these 4 things are not in sync with each other, there's no deal. So I like to make sure that this is embedded in their minds and then lead them through the process.
Well, let me ask you a question really quick.
Okay.
You touched on a few points, and I'm Pan-African minded, right? So I'm looking at the history of real estate and how it affects our people as a whole, right? So redlining, I discussed redlining when we're talking about the Maafa. I'm not sure how familiar you are with redlining, but in order to purchase a home, that is a right that we had to fight for. We had to fight for a home ownership and property and land ownership. Are you able to discuss as far as redlining is concerned and how that affected our ability to have generational wealth?
Definitely, it definitely would have affected the amount of opportunities that we would have had back in those days, in those times. It's actually illegal. As a realtor through the National Association of Real Estate. So you have your realtor, which is a trademarked name. Realtor is who I represent. I'm a National Association of Realtors. We are sworn in by a code of ethics that protects the public, period. Then you have your real estate agents, which are not part of the National Association of Realtors, who may not have the same integrity and the same code of ethics that we do. But we stand by that because we have to stand by the code of ethics we were sworn into. And so when it comes to the history of time when redlining was happening, and in my opinion, I haven't seen it happen here in Arizona. But I have read stories in other parts of the country where it's questionable. Like, is this still happening? But where I'm not going to speak on other states. Here in Arizona, though, where it is absolutely not something that is, if an agent or a client or customer even gets an inkling that this is happening, it can be reported.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, times are definitely changing, but the importance of home ownership allows you to freedom and to be able to accumulate generational wealth because you're investing in yourself and in your future. Property is an asset that doesn't generally depreciate. On occasions it'll depreciate, but generally speaking, you gain equity, right, over time.
Absolutely. And for those who don't understand what equity is the amount of money, the value of a home that appreciates over time. So, when you purchase a home, you're actually, over the years and as you're making payments, you're gaining wealth in that property that you can actually pull. You kind of think of it as like an invisible account, because you can actually pull out some of that money and use it as a down payment on a whole nother property and then rent that property out. So that is the pathway of how people use real estate to create wealth and generational wealth, because it then can get passed down to their heirs of the family. Um, there's a lot of different ways of taking title in Arizona, and then there's going into like trust and being able to protect your assets. That's another part, one of the most important parts of the financial literacy part, protecting your money. But yeah, equity is 100% the way that people build wealth in real estate. And when you're able to take the equity out of one property to put into another one, now you've got tenants in there, they're paying for that and basically building more equity in this new property now. So now, okay, you may want to get a multiplex at that point. Multiplexes are definitely a way of creating wealth as well, because single family homes are going to be for the single family or the family who's looking for a home. The multiplexes, not everybody needs a whole house. Some people are single, some people just live by themselves. They don't need a whole house. They might just need a 1 bedroom or a 2 bedroom flat or apartment. So it definitely is a way to build wealth in real estate. And a lot of people become investors in real estate. They do the fix and flips where they just buy a property off market, they fix it up, they put it back on the market. Either they sell it or they hold on to it. And that's another aspect of real estate. Like, you have to really decide what you want to do in real estate if you're going to become an investor, or if you just want to purchase a home to sit on and allow your family to grow in it. And then at some point, your family's either going to grow bigger to where you need a bigger house, or you're going to downsize because now your kids are grown and everybody's moved out and you don't need this big house by yourself anymore. So knowing your why you want to buy is very important. And that's one of the things that a good real estate agent is going to listen, because listening is key. We need to know what the goal is of a customer client in order to be able to help them.
Right. So, okay. You started in 2020, correct? As far as real estate, making that your permanent. Okay. So for a first-time home buyer, everything starts in the mind before they're a home buyer, and it's funny that we give people we put them in these boxes and these, give them these names because, now they're a home buyer instead of, this or this or that. What makes them a home buyer, right? What are the first steps needed? And I know everything starts in the mind, right? This is what I'm really getting to. Everything starts in the mind.
Mm-hmm.
But what are the first steps going from Joe Schmo to home buyer?
All right, Joe Schmo. So first of all, Joe Schmo is going to, there's two ways. He could either go and speak to a lender, because, okay, first of all, Joe Schmo needs to know, how's he going to pay for this house? Did he get an inheritance and he's got a couple $100,000 sitting somewhere? Or does he need to figure out how he's going to finance this home? Now, he can either go find a lender, or he's going to come and find me or an agent that he trusts and say, I want to buy a home. The first thing that I'm going to say to Joe Schmo at that point is, okay, are you going to be paying cash, or are you going to be investing? Are you looking for financing? And he's going to say he needs to finance. So at that point, I'm going to connect Joe Schmo with one of my trusted lender partners, and they're going to ask him to fill out a loan application, which is going to help them to understand his financial situation, his credit history, how he handles his money. And they're going to want to get taxes, and they want to see, where's the money? Where's the income coming from? And how are you saving, budgeting, and managing your debt? That's another piece of the financial literacy. I don't think I mentioned that. How you manage your debt. So where's your money coming from? How are you saving? How are you budgeting? How are you managing debt? and then how to protect it. Okay. So once he's spoken to the lender and the lender, he submits whatever documentation that the lender is asking of him, then the lender is going to provide this person with either a pre-qualification letter saying how much he's pre-approved for, or he's going to tell him that there are certain things on his credit that he needs to work on in order to become pre-qualified. And a lot of times people think that their credits, they have to have a credit score of 700 or 650 and they have to have 20% down, and that is absolutely not the truth. It's not true. It's a myth. You don't have to have 20% down, and you don't have to have a 650, 700 credit score. What's important is speaking to the lender, being completely transparent with them, because they want to help you. They don't want to waste your time. Don't waste theirs. They want to help you. You provide them with all the documentation that they're asking for so that they can put together a plan that's going to get you pre-qualified. So then once you're pre-qualified, they then send that to me. And now I know how much house we're looking for. Because it doesn't make sense to go out and start looking at homes. We're not window shoppers. We don't do that. It's time and money. Nobody's wasting time in this heat to just be driving around looking at houses that we don't know how much to pre-approve for. We could go look at $1 million home, but it doesn't make sense if you're not going to be pre-approved at purchasing a $1 million home. So it's important to know how much you're pre-approved for, and then we start going out and looking at properties that is in your range. I'd like to talk to my clients. The first thing that I do too on that first call, when he first calls me, when Joe Schmo calls me for the first time, before I even connect him with a lender, I say to him, if I were your fairy godmother and you could have whatever you want in this house, write it down, take it out of here and birth it on the paper, because mind is mental, universe is mind. So whatever you want, if you could have whatever you want, put it down on the paper, and every time you think of something else, add it to the paper. I want it detailed to the color on the walls, the type of flooring, what does the backyard look like. I want you to really see it and feel the fact that I've already told you, here's your keys. How does that feel? What does it feel like to be standing in this future home of yours that you already see? I want you to see it already. And once you see it and you're harnessing that feeling that you're having, knowing that I'm just telling you, here's the keys, then I move forward with the steps of introducing them to the lender.
Yes, indeed. So listening to you, it reminded me of my own personal experience. I purchased my home when I started the process of purchasing when I was 18. I remember speaking to my grandmother just out the blue. I may have heard a voice in my head. And I said, Grandma, I'm going to go out and buy a house. I'm 18 at the time. But that was a pivotal moment, and it was really a mindset that just came up over me because, my family didn't have home ownership. And something just hit me, let me go and purchase a house. And we're talking about in 2002. But again, I'm from a place of, I was raised in poverty. We didn't really have much, right? You're talking about public assistance and different things like that, helping us to get by. And so I was the first person in my family to purchase a home. But what's important to me is having that thought, like, I don't know why the thought entered my mind. I think at the time my credit score was 500 and something. Right? I'm 18 years old. I haven't established any credit for a very long time. So I was Joe Schmo for a very short period. What brought up the memory is when you're talking about those keys. So I was living in an apartment complex, And behind the apartments, they started tearing up the dirt and started laying the foundations. So hey, they're about to build some houses. They put a little shed out there. And so there was a realtor in there. And after telling my grandmother that, I went outside. I was in my pajamas. I wasn't really serious. I wasn't serious. Okay. Because obviously I'm about to get turned down and rejected. So I'm not about to get my hopes up. Right. That's the mindset, right? So
throw that out. Anybody that's listening to that mindset, you have to kick that mindset in the face and move the next direction.
Ashe. So we're about to get a lot worse in this mindset. Okay, in this story. I'm 18 from poverty. I don't know anything about real estate. I've held the job down for a few years. Okay. I'm making $8 and some change and a little commission here and there. So I go into the office, which is a little, what do you call it, cubicle or whatever, that's parked outside. And I say, hey, I want to buy a house. And the lady, to my surprise, took me seriously. She didn't say, get out of here, Mr. Pajamas and house shoes. And I signed, well, she gave me some information, application to fill out. Now I filled out the application. She goes into the back room and she comes back and she said, Mr. Humphrey, we can get you qualified. I'm like, whatever, right? I don't believe in anything, And the process went pretty quickly. I think like a week later, I'm at the title company and they're trying to tell me how I want my house built and different things like that. And I tell them, and I'm like, whatever. They said I need to bring someone as a witness so I can sign this documentation and the house will be built, 3 to 6 months or whatever. So I bring my dad. I said, Dad, they want you here. So we signed the documentation. And lo and behold, the house was built. Guess what I'm like? Whatever. I'm still like
in denial, right?
Right. So the house is built and it's sitting there for a couple of weeks. They said, here's your keys. I'm still like, whatever.
At what point did it sink in to where you were like, I'm here? At what point did you
I literally did not want to move my things into the house just to get kicked out.
Oh, yeah, that's that mindset. That's that
right. Right. So we are dealing with we're dealing with a lot of trauma.
Yes.
Right. Like there's no way they're going to allow me to move forward. Like the man is going to come for me. Right. So that mindset is very installed. And that's why I was focusing on that. But I was at the house with all the boys, all my friends and everything. And I was like, y'all ready to move into that house? It was like maybe 2 weeks after I got the keys. So I just wanted to tell that story, because a lot of us are dealing with trauma and affliction to the point that we're not looking to go from Joe Schmo to Mr. Homeowner, right?
I would like to say that as a people, as a nation, and I'm talking all people, not just melanated people, everything that we've ever been taught on this planet from the time we landed or from the time we were birthed here, we have to unlearn it. We have to unlearn everything we've ever been taught, clear and create a new canvas. Like think of the whiteboard or the chalkboard, everything that's already on there when we came into the planet, everything that they were taught us, clear it, because we have to gain our own definition of what life is. And if we think of life in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration, we can have anything we want in this life. If we were taught how to meditate, how to quiet our mind, how to tap into the chakras that we're built of, we are stardust. We are the stardust that is made of outside up in the ethers. We are that. So that means we are connected. But because we come into this world and we're given a name and we're given, we're indoctrinated into going to school and spending 8 hours a day there and going to, like, what if we undid that and use our 24 hours in the day to do what we wanted to do? What would we do and how would we use our time here? And so when we quiet our mind, like the thought that came into your mind that said, you need to go buy a house. That was your future self telling you, this is what you're going to do. You didn't understand it. You didn't even accept it at the time, but your physical body still made the movement to go do that. And you accomplished it.
Mm-hmm.
You never want, even though you may have still had doubt in the back of your mind, you still moved forward with the process. You had no expectations. And that is one thing that is really important in manifestation. Like, you move with the intention and you move with purpose. You don't know from which direction it's going to happen, but you just have to know, this is what I'm doing and this is going to happen. And when you move like that, you start to meet the right people. You happen to be in the right places at the right time. Everything becomes effortless. When things are moving effortless in your life, that's the path that you're supposed to be on. And that's what you're supposed to be doing. But when things start being a little sketchy or stressed out or whatever, that's when you have to kind of pull back and say, well, maybe this isn't for me, but for you followed your first mind, which is your higher self, which told you this is what you're going to do and you're going to have it, even though your physical body didn't believe it.
Right.
So
and that's the thing, is that representation, that's what I was lacking. So I was ignorant of the fact that we have the abilities. There's a lot of opportunities that we do not take advantage of, like you were saying, because of the indoctrination. But also, we don't have the representation, or at that time, we didn't have the representation of seeing that success in that way. So homeownership is extremely important, and I feel like that was one of the best things that I've accomplished in my life. And it put me on a path of, like you said, least resistance. Everything was much smoother. Why? Because when you own a home, well, first of all, there's different ways of purchasing a house, right? Just sometimes you buy something that's upside down. Sometimes it's a 2-1 buy down. There's a lot of different strategies and gateways of purchasing a house. But the thing is once you have a house, the ownership part means it belongs to you. So the process of you losing it versus renting is a totally different process. So you have the equity, you have leverage, right? You have breathing room, right? They're not going to come and knock on your door on the 5th of the month because you didn't pay your rent.
Nope.
Right? You can go ahead and gather another 6-7 checks before that happened, right? So
one thing
gives you.
I'm sorry. One thing that people don't realize too, when it comes to paying rent and paying mortgage, when you pay rent, you're paying for the 30 days you're about to live in there. When you're paying mortgage, you're paying for the 30 days that's just passed. You're paying for what you've already lived in. So it's not like the 5th, somebody's come knocking, or you getting emails, phone calls that you're renting or whatever, and now you got late fees and stuff. You're locked into a rate. Like, you're not going to be expecting to have a rate increase next year. Your payments that you're going to make are going to be exactly what you started paying. And I mean, sometimes like property taxes go up, and so it may affect your escrow balance a little bit, and now you have to pay a little bit different. But it's not going to be like how when you're paying rent, $50 more, $150 went up in rent. I mean, it's horrible how the capitalism side of real estate is so greedy that it's horrible. It's incensing, because it's like they're raising the rent but the cost of living, the income hasn't gone up. So it's the same person that's still trying to still pay their bills, and they're responsible. They're showing that they've been responsible because they've been living there for however many years. But now they're increasing the rent because the cost of living has gone up, but the pay, they didn't get an increase in pay.
Right.
So that's one of the benefits of being a homeowner is once you purchase, you're locked into that rate. You're locked into that payment. That payment is going to be what you're paying until you do a refi, or you speak to your lender and you start changing figures as far as interest rates and things of that nature. But and then you had mentioned too that there's different ways of like you mentioned, a title company. In Arizona, we use title companies. On the East Coast and the other states, they use attorneys to write contracts and do the real estate business. But in Arizona, it's really, really important to understand what the roles are of a title company and what the escrow officer's role is, because they're really there to protect the consumer and the seller. They're there to protect the consumers, to make sure that this clear title, you're not purchasing a home that has a lien on it from 20 years ago from somebody else. Make sure that they're selling the home that the home is supposed to be sold, that the names are matching. And it's important to know that. And I've actually done a video on that as well for anybody who's interested in learning more about what a title company is and what their role is. I see it up here.
Let me just say this. This is far beyond what I thought this would be, and I'm so appreciative that you are here and you're not trying to sell anything. You're educating.
Yes.
And that's what we want for what we are doing.
Right.
And Yehudi, at the age of 18, you bought how many 18-year-olds purchased a house?
A house.
Mm-hmm.
Now you have an app.
Mm-hmm.
This is your destiny.
I say, and like we were just talking about, it's a mindset, right?
Yeah.
Hearing that voice. A lot of people have a different concept of what that voice is.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But without trying to separate and divide concepts and ideologies, being able to listen and follow and move in the direction, even if you don't have the experience, you don't have what you believe the skill sets to accomplish it. If you hear that voice, you following that direction. I call it one thing, other people call it other things. But what I wanted to stress, because I am an advocate of home ownership, obviously, but I wanted to stress, because I'm brass tacks, I'm from absolutely nothing. And I know what if I was 17, 16, what I would like to hear about home ownership. What's the benefit, right? That fifth, the fifth, they're not coming knocking at your door. In addition to that, there's a whole long process. It's a long duration of time. And the thing is we don't really want to discuss, illnesses, sicknesses, something happening negative, losing your job, things like that. But in a renter situation, you lose your job and you've already been living check to check. You don't have the rent come next month. You're going to be short, and you don't have the time, because time is money. You don't have the time to make up for it. However, in an ownership situation, you have 3 months before this stuff even starts to get out of, so you can go and find another job and scrounge or sell what you need to sell. You have breathing room, right? Yeah. And unfortunately, we get sick. Let's say you catch the flu and you get laid off because your boss didn't like you, or situation that was happening at your job, and you're sick, you're missing hours, and you were already late, or whatever the situation is. Yeah. And you're laid off. Well, guess what? You own your home. Yeah. Right? You can
call the mortgage company and say whatever, and hear what they can do, because they don't want the house back. They want the money.
Right.
So if it's something that can be worked out, you call your mortgage company and you talk to them and you let them know, and you just see what can be worked out, for sure.
Yes. Opposed to being out on the street asking your family, where can I move in, paying for storage for all your stuff, and the stuff ain't worth the amount that the storage is charging you, right?
Wow.
So it's very important to have that peace of mind, to have the time that you need to recover, because everyone gets sick, right? So this can happen to anyone.
Let me also add that what you're talking about, most people do not hear about, and it's really not offered as far as the general public to come and get educated as you do to prepare you for owning and owning a home. And that's what I would like to see. I would like to see organizations or people getting together to start educating our communities.
Absolutely.
And there may be services out there, but most people do not know about it. And so my thing is always, how do we reach the people to educate them?
Just like how we are right now, having platforms with people like you and I and Tahuti who actually want to provide education. And I'm actually
going to be consistent, though. It has to be consistent.
It has to be consistent. Whether rain or shine or nobody shows up, we're still here for the one person who shows up that's in the room. And that is my goal right now, is to put together webinars or put together workshops, places in the community where we're going to be. And matter of fact, I'll talk to you guys about that, like, you know, off here. But I would love to be able to set up some consistency monthly where I'm bringing in people on my team to talk about home ownership, how to prepare, how to have reserves. It's good to have a 3 months reserve for if an incidental happens to where somebody's sick, and you know you're not stressing because you've got 3 months of reserves in an account sitting there waiting in case you need that. And a lot of us weren't taught that. We were never told, hey, you need to have 3 months of savings to pay your mortgage payment or your rent payment. Have 3 months in advance, just sitting somewhere. And some of us, you know, are not put in a position to where we can actually have that because we're going paycheck to paycheck. However, saving is key. It doesn't matter if you're putting $5 away every week. If that's all you could do, it's better than nothing. It's going to eventually grow. If you can put more down, put more down. But saving is a very, very important key. And coming into the community and providing the education is absolutely a goal, for sure.
So what you're saying is true as well. But using this platform and other platforms to get to the community, we want to reach people that sort of has the same mindset that you have, because just a few of us cannot cover, you know, the masses. So we need to start collaborating and figuring out who does what so that we can collaborate with them to provide enough of this information out to infiltrate the communities.
Yes.
This is
I'm
true.
I'm definitely here to sign up for that, because we don't have people that are consistent. They may do one workshop here, they may do one there, and then they're off to something else. But we need to let the community know, hey, we're going to be here and we're going to be consistent. So if you can't make it this time or you missed it that time, we're going to be here again. So definitely.
And that is one of the main focuses of MelaNation, the company and the app, because we see a lot of positive Black-owned businesses. We see a lot of people having lectures. There are a lot of people being very prosperous. However, that's on an individual basis. There are some communities linking together on different levels, but like you're saying, Ms. Lizzie, it's not propagating through the masses.
Absolutely.
Right? So being able to have a home where we know this is where we can find, you know, the tools, the community at large, and then having the ability to address the community at large. That's what MelaNews represents, is that ability to address, and then having the forewithal to galvanize the community, not based on something like ideology or something like, location. We're global. We'll be global, and we're providing the entertainment so people can come on there specifically for entertainment and get that education, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So you don't have to be Pan-African. You don't have to be for the cause. None of that has to even enter your mind, but you can still go on there for your own purposes and for your own reason and still get educated.
Right. Absolutely. And I see the question, what lessons have you learned serving the community? And one thing that I would like to say is that people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. Like, I don't care how much you know about this stuff, Ronzee. I don't care how much you know about building wealth. I don't care how much you know about equity and all of that. But do you really care? Do you really care to see somebody in a home that has nothing to do with your pocket? Do you really care about the community, building the community wealth in real estate, to see people actually have homes that actually need them, that actually want them? And I've also learned that listening is more powerful than speaking.
Absolutely.
Service requires patience. Like, you have to have empathy. You have to have some sort of consistency. Like you were saying, Miss Lizzie, consistency, and be genuine with the desire to want to help. Like, actually really want to help somebody without expecting anything in return. Like, I've done it. So I want to see you with it too, because I understand the benefits of it. And yeah, that's what I would say. That's what I've learned about serving the community is
that's interesting.
Who want to really know that you really genuinely care and that it has nothing to do with me benefiting from it. Mm-hmm. Obviously, my time, my expertise is worth. I'm valuable. I'm giving information, which is value. And the way that we're living in the world now, like you should be compensated for your time and your energy. And real estate, just as an agent, happens to be you get commissions and things of that nature. But one thing that people also need to understand too is a real estate agent, we don't get paid until you get those keys. So it could be 30, 60, 90, 180 days of grooming you, preparing you, following up, making sure you understand, communicating with the lender, being patient with you and taking the time for your credit to get to wherever it needs to go, if that's the case. I'm not going to be the agent that's going to be like, oh, you got 390? Oh, bye. No, it's called building a relationship.
Absolutely. Yes.
Build a relationship, build a rapport, allow this person to understand that you're not going to just be here today and run away tomorrow because they're not ready. And that's why I say I'm not transactional. I'm here to really actually build relationships with community, build with people who want to connect with me and learn from me, that I can also learn from them as well.
And we also need to consider educating our community in ownership, working together, however it is individual, but ownership.
Absolutely. Because we cannot, if we're divided, we can't do anything alone. We have to be unified, especially in the communities where, like, I've heard, I've done the research on like Oklahoma, the Black Wall Street, in those days, everybody was united. Everybody was together. Everybody supported each other. One person sold real estate. One person was in lending at the bank. One person was a lawyer. One person made the mattresses. One person, everybody come together because everybody is the expert in their industry of whatever it is, and we supported each other. And that's the one thing that I would like to see happen more, is that we're supporting, if you are a consumer and your friend is a producer, simply share their post. Just share their post. If you are a W-2 employee and your friend has their own business or they're an independent contractor and you see that they are promoting their business, they're promoting their service, just as simple sharing their posts will allow the people who are on your platform be able to see something that the person that is sharing the information may not be able to get to that audience.
Absolutely.
Just showing, share the post shows that you share, that you care. Sharing is caring.
I just want to go back to what you were saying in reference to Black Wall Street and give a shout out to Dr. Claudia Anderson for the Powernomics and bringing this education to our people. Give our elders the flowers that they deserve. We're near the end of our program. If you can speak to our audience, what advice do you have for them?
My advice would be show up for yourself. Ask questions. If there's something if your mind has birthed an idea or something that you want to do, don't doubt yourself, because we underestimate ourselves greatly, because we're like, oh, well, because I'm this, or because that, or because this, or because that. Wipe your brain clean of anything that is going to deter you from going forward with what your higher self is telling you to go do. Show up for yourself. If you're not sure how to do it, ask somebody who's already doing it. If you don't know somebody that's already doing it, we're living in a technology age. All you have to do is go online and say, I want to know how to do this. How do I do it? Now we've got AI. AI will show you what to do or give you a direction. So show up for yourself and pay attention to how we treat people, how you're treating the people around you, how you're supporting the people around you. Because it's not always about what somebody can do for you, but also how you're pouring into someone else as well. And that's how we keep the energy moving. Remember, energy, frequency, vibration. If you're on a high frequency, high vibration, and you keep this energy moving, it's like an atom. It's gonna come to you, and we have to just keep that going. So that would be my advice. Don't underestimate yourself.
Okay, and projects that you have coming up, contact information. I know we have it on the screen, but if you go ahead and
let me
go ahead.
I apologize. I would love for you to the Black business that you are associated with, Twin. What's the name of it? Twin something. The business that opened in Tempe.
Oh, okay. So
you can throw
shout out to Mr. Muhammad. Chowdown, Arizona is at 85 East Southern Avenue in Tempe, Arizona. It's a soul food restaurant. He specializes in oxtails, your yams, your mac and cheese, your cornbread, greens, mac and cheese. He does Philly cheesesteaks. He does oxtail cheese or oxtail Phillies. You got your wings. If you're looking for comfort food, the banana pudding over there is award-winning. He makes it from scratch. So definitely shout out to Kareem Muhammad over at Chowdown, Arizona. Go support him. And I'm Ronzee Henry. My angle on social media is Where's Ronzee. So if you just type in Where's Ronzee, you'll see me pop up. My website is Ronzee, RONZEE, salesrealestate.com. You could go there. You can fill out the information there, your name, your email, telephone number, and then I'll be able to get back to you with whatever your real estate question is. But ideally, I'm your community support, your small business supporter, your local community realtor. That I'm everywhere. I don't just real estate is what I do, but I am a human. I'm a spiritual being having a human experience. I love art. I love music.
There you go. I wanted you to say that.
Yes. I'm looking forward to the art thing this weekend too, Miss Lizzie.
Okay. Okay.
I'm looking forward to it.
This has definitely been an enlightening and beautiful session. We'll definitely love to have you back and move forward together. You know,
Absolutely.
when we're making these connections are something that we're using to continue to build with our community. So, you know, this is the first time I've met you and spoken with you, but I have learned, and I definitely appreciate you.
Thank you for having me. And I would love to come back again, and I would love to put together some workshops with you all. You know, let's do it. Let's get the community involved and let them know that if they want the information, here's where they can find it.
Yes, indeed.
Ashe.
Shout out to you, Kanoy. Supporting what each other is doing is very important. Spending time together is rich. I love you too. Good to see you, Queen.
Oh, you all see? I don't see.
Say that again.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I thought you said something.
Well, I'm just going to say, that being said, that concludes our session here. I want to thank everyone for watching again. We're here every Wednesday, Mountain Standard Time. In the meantime, in between time, you can reach out to Miss Ronzee and Henry at the information provided. You can reach MelaNation App on Facebook under MelaNation App. Other than that, all I have to say is peace, 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 love and peace.
New beginnings every day.
New beginnings every day.